for 5 years. I never dated here because I saw vicariously through my roommate how terrible it was. Somehow getting drinks was the replacement of having coffee and breakfast. I personally would rather have coffee or brunch with someone than go, I don't drink. I find it unproductive, not because I'm holier than whatever. I just don't operate that way. But I always thought it was very strange how she would go to drinks with one guy and then go to dinner with another. So it goes twofold here. So if you're expecting to marry someone that I was blessed with, like a Charlie, you have to be the type of woman that will attract a Charlie. Are you going to church? Are you going to Bible study? Did you tell your pastor?
For months, the internet kept circling one awkward question. And the strange part? Nobody close to Charlie Kirk seemed in a hurry to clear it up. The same topic kept popping up everywhere. Comment sections, forums, late-night live stream debates.
You were proposed to by Charlie in 2020. You started dating him in 2018. And 3 years before that, you were dating this guy, Tyler Massey. I mean, you guys would do couples photo shoots. This is still online. And this is only 3 years before you started dating Charlie.
He's in heaven.
Yeah, and 2 years later, you were dating this guy, Cabot Phillips. And here he is posting you guys on his public page saying, yes, we're that couple who gets painting lessons together. Again, this is a year before you started dating Charlie, and well within the 5-year period you claim to have never dated anyone, but you were out here dissing your roommate for...
Yet the people who might actually know the truth stayed completely quiet. People kept asking the same thing again and again. Were the kids really his? The chatter wouldn't die down. Every time the topic appeared, the response was the same wall of silence. No clear answers, no direct statements, just more speculation spreading across the internet. Now, the situation has taken a sharp turn because a doctor's leaked report has started making the rounds online. And if the DNA results people are posting are real, they don't just raise eyebrows about Erika Kirk's story. They point toward the possibility of a completely different father being involved. But before anyone rushes straight to the loudest headline, the timeline matters a lot. This whole situation didn't start with the leak. Long before any documents surfaced, people online had already been whispering about strange gaps in the timeline. Questions about past relationships kept floating around, and many noticed that certain topics were never addressed publicly. The idea of DNA testing kept resurfacing in conversations, and one particular name started popping up more often than expected: Cabot Phillips. That's exactly why this angle suddenly has everyone watching closely. To understand why people are connecting those dots, you have to go back to the image Erika first built when she stepped into the spotlight next to Charlie. From day one, she was presented as the perfect match for his public brand. Disciplined, strongly religious, and committed to traditional values. In interviews, she spoke openly about her faith and described living a lifestyle that sounded completely different from the fast-moving world people often associate with social media culture and modern dating. She described her relationship with Charlie as something meaningful and guided by purpose, almost like it had been part of a bigger plan for a long time. That story held strong in the beginning. Supporters viewed her as someone who perfectly matched Charlie's message about faith, discipline, and traditional values. But the internet does what it always does. People started digging. Old clips, archived interviews, forgotten social media posts. Suddenly, everything from the past began resurfacing online.
I wouldn't do it.
You went to a job interview.
Literally. So this is how good the Lord is. He knew that because I was not dating in New York City, he knew that in order for me to know that that was my man, he had to blanket Charlie as a job interview. Because if that went in, no joke, if he came to me and said, hey, let's go on a date to Bill's Burgers, I'd be like, I am so sorry. Thank you, but no, we're not doing this. That was my mindset. I was not in that headspace. I just wasn't. But God will work in incredible ways when you surrender the pen for him to write your love story. And when you know that, look, if I remain in the jet stream of God's will, he will provide for me in ways I cannot even imagine. And that is my prayer for you. My prayer for you is to remain open.
Once those pieces started getting replayed side by side, some viewers noticed small details that hadn't stood out before. Tiny inconsistencies began catching attention, and that's when the first real cracks in the story started showing up. One of the earliest surprises that caught people off guard came when viewers realized Erika had once appeared on a season of the reality series Summer House, years before she became publicly known alongside Charlie. The show followed a group of young professionals spending their summers in the Hamptons, socializing, partying, and enjoying that fast-moving New York lifestyle. Clips from that season showed Erika laughing with friends, having drinks, and moving through a social scene that looked very different from the image many people later connected with her public persona. To be fair, Erika later addressed that period in interviews, and simply appearing on a reality show didn't automatically mean anything serious. But the discovery still sparked a question that kept circulating online. If that earlier chapter of her life was harmless, why did it seem like there was such a strong effort to distance from it? That curiosity pushed people to start digging even deeper into her past. Soon, another thread began gaining attention: her relationships before meeting Charlie. Before the marriage and before the public spotlight, Erika had reportedly been connected to several people, including Tyler and JT Massey. At the time, the connection with JT wasn't hidden at all. In fact, Erika once spoke very positively about JT in magazine interviews, describing him as a close friend and someone who had played an important role in her life. At the time, those comments didn't attract much attention. But years later, when photos of the two together started resurfacing online, they spread quickly across social media. People began comparing those images with the public story many had heard about Erika's life before Charlie entered the picture. For some viewers, the timeline didn't seem to line up as neatly as it once did. But the conversation really took a sharp turn when an old video from a 2015 Trump rally suddenly started circulating again online. In the clip, Erika is seen standing beside a man with a young girl positioned between them. Viewers studying the footage closely began pointing out something they found interesting. Some people online claimed the girl appeared to resemble JT Massey. And standing nearby in the crowd was another familiar name people recognized almost immediately: Tyler Bauer. That detail grabbed attention fast because Tyler Bauer would later be credited as the person who introduced Erika to Charlie Kirk in the first place. Suddenly, what once looked like a random piece of old rally footage started raising a lot more questions across the internet.
Tom Brady and Erika Kirk are reportedly dating now, and this got 13 million views in just one day with 80,000 likes. But guys, it gets worse. Because as you know, in several podcasts with Charlie Kirk, Erika Kirk said that she would be single forever if they ever got a divorce or anything ever happened, right? Well, as you know, he passed away, that everybody already knows that, but yeah, apparently they are dating, and I really just don't even understand this. A lot of people are saying JD Vance is going to be sad. Obviously, that's just the joke because she was like hugging him on stage, but obviously she just like is touchy like that. So like that's the excuse.
Around that same period, people also noticed photos circulating of Cabot Phillips and Charlie attending events together as friends. When online users started lining those timelines up side by side, the story Erika had shared about meeting Charlie through a random job interview began getting questioned more heavily. Some observers pointed out that if Erika had already been spending time around people connected to Charlie's political and media circles, then the idea that she had never been part of that environment before might not be as simple as it first sounded. That's exactly why Cabot Phillips speaking publicly now has pulled so much attention online. For years, many people assumed he likely knew more than he ever revealed. He stayed close enough to understand what was happening in those circles, yet quiet enough to avoid getting pulled into the public drama surrounding it. Now, with rumors spreading online about a medical report that some commentators claim connects DNA results to Erika's pregnancy timeline, the conversation has shifted in a major way. The speculation isn't just about whether Erika was fully open about her past anymore, it's about the bigger questions people are now starting to ask. The bigger question people have started asking now is whether Charlie himself may have had doubts at some point. Some online discussions claim there were questions that never fully got resolved before Charlie's death, and now those same questions have returned right back into the spotlight. Once the internet began re-examining the timeline piece by piece, the pressure for clear answers only got louder. People started revisiting old interviews, clips, and posts, trying to figure out what really happened and when. Observers also pointed out that Erika never directly addressed the ongoing speculation about DNA testing. She didn't strongly deny the rumors, but she also didn't step forward with a detailed public explanation either. Instead, she mostly stayed quiet while continuing to appear at events and speaking engagements. That silence quickly became one of the biggest talking points online. The timing made everything stand out even more because several other controversies were surfacing at the exact same time. After Charlie's passing, Erika launched what many supporters initially saw as public tributes meant to honor his legacy. But critics online began describing those appearances very differently, calling it a grief tour because she continued appearing on stages at conferences and gatherings while her public profile kept growing. Then another situation sparked a wave of heated debate: the controversy surrounding AmFest. During the event, reports claimed that a replica of the tent connected to the location where Charlie lost his life was recreated as part of the display. Photos circulating online showed stage lighting, merchandise booths, and attendees walking through the recreated structure while taking pictures. For some observers, the display felt uncomfortable. Critics argued it risked crossing a line between honoring someone's memory and turning a tragic moment into something that looked more like a spectacle. At the same time, reports began spreading about possible internal tensions inside Turning Point USA. According to several whistleblower claims shared online, a number of employees were suddenly dismissed with little explanation. Some staff members who had spent years helping build the organization reportedly found themselves pushed out without warning. The official explanation was that the organization was simply moving in a new direction. But critics and commentators online suggested the sudden shakeup might hint at deeper internal issues, possibly an effort to prevent sensitive information from leaking during an already chaotic moment. Against that entire backdrop, the rumors surrounding Erika's past relationships haven't faded away. If anything, the conversation online has only grown louder, with more people continuing to question the timeline and the unanswered details surrounding it. Over the past few months, discussion threads across social media have repeatedly linked Erika's name to several public figures, including athletes and personalities connected to political circles. None of those claims have ever been confirmed, but the constant speculation has pushed many observers to question whether the carefully presented image of a grieving widow truly tells the full story. All of that brings the conversation straight back to the newest wave of debate, the alleged pregnancy report, and the DNA results that have recently started circulating online. If the documents people are sharing were ever proven to be authentic, the implications would stretch far beyond internet gossip about Erika's personal life. It would raise serious questions about whether Charlie may have spent the final years of his life privately dealing with doubts he never chose to address publicly. That possibility is exactly what has kept so many people glued to this story. What makes the situation feel different now is how many timelines are suddenly colliding all at once. Old footage has resurfaced, past relationships are being revisited, and viewers have started comparing earlier interviews with newer claims spreading online. On top of that, people continue pointing out what they see as inconsistencies in how Erika describes certain parts of her past. Others highlight the noticeable silence around DNA testing, and now the name Cabot Phillips is being mentioned directly in connection with the alleged results. When those pieces get placed side by side, the internet isn't just debating one rumor anymore. Instead, many online commentators believe they are looking at a much larger pattern forming. Charlie himself never went on camera making accusations, and he never publicly confronted these questions while he was alive. Now that he's gone, some observers believe the answers might not come from interviews or public statements at all. They might come from documents and records instead. And that's exactly why so many people are watching the situation unfold so closely. Because if even one verified document were to confirm a different father, it wouldn't just revive an old rumor. It could completely reshape how people understand the timeline surrounding Charlie's final years. If that ever happened, the entire timeline of Erika's life within those political circles could end up being examined all over again from the ground up. Online reactions have already been intense, with some commenters speaking very bluntly about the situation. One user wrote, "Her not being a mother in the absence of their father is diabolical." Another commenter wrote, "DNA test on them kiddos. Charlie parent, need a DNA test on those kids ASAP." Statements like that have been spreading fast across social media as people continue debating what may have really happened. When the internet starts demanding proof this strongly, it usually means many people believe something bigger could be hiding beneath the surface. The discussion has moved far beyond casual gossip. Now the focus is on one simple question: will any real evidence ever appear to settle the debate? At this point, the real question isn't whether the rumors exist. Everyone already knows they do. The bigger question is whether the evidence people keep pointing to will ever actually confirm anything. Because if a DNA result like the one being discussed were ever officially verified, it wouldn't just shift the conversation online. It could completely change how this entire story is remembered. It could also reshape who people believe was telling the truth from the very beginning. If the past few months have shown anything, it's that the deeper people dig into this story, the more questions seem to appear. And right now, many of those questions are still waiting for clear answers. So what do you think is really going on here? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share this with someone who's been following the story too. And don't go anywhere just yet. Check out the next video on the screen because this story might be far from over.